Hello, friends. This is Lucas Kitchen. It may have been a little bit of time since it's a weird way to say that. It may have been a while since you've heard a podcast from me. It really has been a while. I like doing podcasts, but I often put too much pressure on myself to make sure that it's all produced and edited and, is ready for every platform, etc. And I've just noticed that when I go and, travel and go speak and do events and stuff, it's pretty common that people will come up and say, "Hey, really enjoy your podcast. You should do more of those." And they say that because it's been like, say, a year, a lot of times since I've done a podcast. And so I don't know. I hear that over and over, and I just think, well, but I'm just, it's just a limited amount of time I can put into that because I'm doing other things and I've got, a lot of projects going on. But as I've listened to folks, it's become more clear what it is that they're getting from a podcast. I think of my buddy Matt Palma. Shout out to Matt if you're listening to this. You might be. I don't know. I think my buddy Matt Palma, he's a farmer in Virginia, and visited him this summer, and we had a great time, and I learned a lot about sheep mating. It's just, he's a farmer, he's dealing with that kind of stuff constantly. And so, but while he's working, he's often listening to podcasts, and there's a lot of guys like that. Well, not just guys, there's ladies too. The world does have both men and women. At least I've been told that. That listen while they're working with their hands or working on things that allows them to listen. And so all of this kind of was, put in the cauldron and stirred into a boiling stew in my mind. And it just occurred to me recently, I need to be making podcasts, but I need to lower the expectations. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm making this podcast as part of my More to the Story series. I don't know if you followed More to the Story, but back in the day, it was like, I really was trying to produce it in a big special way so that it was really great. And for a while, I really was doing that every day. And I think it was pretty good. I had one episode that was viewed, and maybe viewed like 1 million times now. It was both a video and a podcast, and it was cool, but I just couldn't keep up with I couldn't keep up with it. So I've rewired my brain to change how I'm thinking about this podcast thing. And what I want to try is I want to try being your rambling friend. I just want to imagine, like Matt Palma, you're out on the farm, or maybe you're an accountant like my new friend Clint, or maybe you're a VP at a big investment company like my buddy Pete. At least Pete, I think that's what you do. I'm a little unclear on what your job title is. You'll probably be promoted every 6 months or so. You're so good at what you do, it seems like. So I don't know what your job title is, but I imagine guys like that, my buddies that are out there, they're doing jobs, and, maybe during their commute or maybe while they're working on things, you could just use some company, like a rambling friend. And so I thought, maybe I'll try being the rambling friend. I'll hop on the mic. I'll talk for a little while, just kind of chat about, this is not a chat because I'm just talking to myself here, but if you could be a fly on the wall or a fly on the window while I'm driving around, you'd realize, yeah, that dude rambles. Just to myself in the car, I will just start giving speeches. Sometimes I'm practicing for something, but sometimes I'm just giving speeches to no one. I mean, I guess maybe I was born to be a podcaster. I don't think that's right. A really great podcaster is good at being prepared and editing. What I'm doing is I'm just rambling. Coffee break, and you'll hear it. Here's my coffee break. Oh yeah. That was coffee I didn't have to make. The office where the office that I rent has somebody that makes the coffee, which is super cool. So anyway, I was thinking I'll just try out being your rambling friend. And so if you want to listen and to me ramble, no problem. And my thought was like, if I set your expectations low, then I don't have to feel bad about not putting a whole lot of effort into editing and everything. So a couple ideas. One idea was I thought I would just see what the verse of the day. Like you guys, I've got I use a certain Bible app, YouVersion, I think is what it's called. And today's verse of the day says, oh, it's Romans 12:2. This is a famous one. Isn't that weird that certain verses are famous and like some verses just don't get much love? But this is a famous one of those famous verses. It's like a celebrity verse, like it lives in Beverly Hills and it has one of those big houses, I guess. I don't know. But Romans 12:2 says, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Good verse. I'd have to really kind of focus to wrestle some of the meaning out of this thing. But I mean, one thing that stands out is like being conformed. Being conformed seems to me to have to do with looking like all the other ducks, in a way, this sort of it feels like it's saying, be the ugly duckling, don't be conformed, don't be like everybody else. Now, there's those that are just trying to be different because they want to make a brand for themselves. It's like personal branding. I don't think that's what it's saying. He's saying be different in a certain way. He's saying don't be conformed to the world. But he gives specifics on how he's saying that you ought to be, and that's to be transformed. And the way that you get transformed is by a renewing of your mind. And Paul talks about this a number of times. He talks about like, set your mind on things above in Colossians. What is that? Colossians 2 or Colossians 3? In Romans 8, he talks about the mindset on the spirit is life and peace. The mindset on the flesh is dun dun dun, death. So here, I think he's kind of connecting to that. We need to be transformed, and the transformation doesn't come by demanding works from our hands, but by changing what's in our mind. And that could have some to do with what you put in your mind, but really it has most to do with the thing that everybody has control over, which is what you think about, where you set your mind, where you point your mind. By the way, you'll hear voices in the background. I'm not in the studio. I'm just in my office, and there's other folks around. So, and then he says that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. I remember in college there was a lot of just a lot of talk about finding God's will, and the way people talked about God's will was like there was some specific place or maybe specific class or specific job that people thought God wanted them to have. And I think for some, like Jonah, I guess that was true. There was a particular thing that God had called him to do. But my experience over the years has been kind of like, it seems like God's will is pretty well laid out in the Bible, and that's like 99.9% of what his will is to, as we say at our church, the Pines, to love God and love people. I mean, that pretty much sums it up, So to love God, love people, that's his will, and, other things that you find in Scripture that have kind of an instructional nature to them, that's God's will, So cool verse. Don't be conformed, but be renewed in your mind. So that's that. As far as rambling, I thought I thought I might tell you a little bit about what I've been working on lately. I have been feverishly working on an app, and I'm sorry for those of you that are Androids. I mean, excuse me, those of you that use Android phones. I originally was going to try to make this app be cross-platform, which means, available for both iOS, iPhone, iPad, Mac people, and also all of the other people in the world who have made the sinful choice to not use Apple products like Android. Excuse me. I'm probably not going to edit out throat clearing and stuff like that. Um, I guess if I do edit it out, here's a mind bender. If I do edit it out, you'll never hear that, and then you'll never hear this. So who in the world am I talking to right now? Anyway, yeah. So developing app, and I'm not a coder. I'm not an app developer. This is all new to me, and so I set out though with this idea for an app, which I thought was super cool. Very simple, but really valuable. And I started trying to build it cross-platform, thinking, we'll make it available to everybody, and ran into all kinds of trouble. I'm just not quite skilled enough for that yet, I think. And I'm even using AI to help me write the code, because I almost said not a good coder, but that would be misleading. I'm not a coder at all. I'm more of a designer, kind of on the artist side of things. So, so the cross-platform thing kind of fell apart, just kept running into trouble. So I restarted, and I restarted 4 different times, but I restarted with the approach of I'm just going to make it for iOS. I think that's going to be easier, and it turned out it was a lot easier. That worked out pretty well. And so it has launched, and it is available. There are, excuse me, sorry about that. It's launched. It's on the App Store, and you can get it right now. I'm constantly kind of working on updates and changing things. Like yesterday, I made a little animated little animation that goes into it, which I was just there's a button on it, like the main button, and I thought it would be cool to animate it. Kind of has sort of like a dice look to it, and I animated it, and it was just like, now it's a lot of fun to hit that button, and I just kept hitting the button, and it was like, I don't know, I think I might have just distracted from the main point of this app by making this little animation thing. So anyway, that's been a lot of fun. But I guess I could tell you what the app, here I am rambling about, I'm going to ramble, but I'm rambling about building the app, but I haven't told you what it is. Well, you know what I could do is I could read you, I started writing some marketing copy for the app, because, with everything, you make a thing, but then you've got to market it, you got to tell people about it. So let me pull this up here, and I'll read it to you. And also, coffee break. Yeah, I just burped, by the way. I don't know. Maybe I should edit. No, I'm not going to edit. I'm not editing. What I've learned is, if I have a side of me that can be a little bit perfectionist, but I have a side of me that can just kind of let it be, sort of like be the Lord's buffoon, and so I get more done if I can embrace the buffoon side of me. So I'm going to keep repeating that to myself. Okay, so here's the description for this app, and I think it'll give you kind of a sense of what I was trying to build. Social media arrived with a promise it has not kept. It was supposed to keep us connected to those we love most. Instead, it has enslaved us to endlessly scroll through a glut of garbage. Ooh, I like that line, a glut of garbage. I thought that was a fun one. This is all written by me, by the way. I did not use AI to write this. It just sort of flowed, and it was fun. It was fun to write it. Let me do that line again. Instead, it has enslaved us to endlessly scroll through a glut of garbage, hiding people we care about behind a cascade of distractions, digital addiction, and at worst, a cacophony of outrage triggers. The social media promise has been broken, and it's time we change our connection strategy. Inside your phone is a collection of contacts, a list you curate, a database of potential connections with the people that you actually care about. What if there was an easy way to stay connected with those most valued relationships in your contact list? Allow me to welcome to the stage Requaint. Side note here, Requaint, we went through some like focus tests with this and tried, just like, text message, texting people, what do you think of these names? Requaint was the one that won, although we had some other interesting ones, but Requaint is spelled R-E and then capital Q-U-A-I-N-T. I'm telling you that so that you can search it if you, so Requaint. So here's what Requaint does. Requaint harnesses the power of serendipity. When you roll the Requaint die, that's like the button on the main page. It has a dice like that you can roll. It randomly chooses from your phone's contact list. You then have the option to text, call, or skip. With Requaint's daily reminder feature, Requaint allows you to catch up with those you may have lost touch with or stay connected with those who are dearest to you. Some of Requaint's notable features include lists. Requaint's lists feature allows you to import or create lists so that you can prioritize the contacts that you want to make on the rotation schedule that is most meaningful to you. Native apps. Requaint operates with your phone's native text or calling app, which means your communications are not socked away in some newfangled app, but instead are right there where you already communicate. Requaint's reminder can be set for the time and day of the week that best works for you, so that your reconnection efforts are most effective. Rotation. Requaint's smart rotation feature ensures that any given contact is only rolled once per cycle. When you have rolled all the names on your contact list, the rotation on your contacts or on your lists, the rotation resets, allowing you to not only reacquaint, but to stay connected with those wonderful people whose contacts you've deemed worthy to collect. Note. Requaint allows you to keep notes that help you remember what matters most to those who matter most to you. From the names of your great-aunt's grandkids to your college buddy's new job title, keep track so that you can turn info into meaningful connections. So who's it for? Requaint is great for anyone who wants to prioritize meaningful connections over life-degrading social media consumption. It's a little on the nose, I know, but I do feel that way, by the way. It's just like social media has some benefits, obviously, but man, it really is sucking the life out of a lot of folks, However, it can become a kind of superpower for those who with network-oriented hobbies, interests, or professions. And this is kind of the bottom line here is pastors, ministers, and volunteers in faith organizations will be able to leverage Requaint in their efforts to shepherd by continually rotating through custom contact lists. Sales agency or client services or then another thought was maybe I didn't write this in there. I should have maybe even like real estate agents or something like that. Those in those types of professions can maintain a stronger network of engaged customers by using Requaint, allowing them to serve up meaningful connections rather than slinging cold spam. Whether it's family, acquaintance, or friends, Requaint is a reunion in your pocket. And the best part, it is absolutely free. No in-app purchases, no ads, no upsales, no costs whatsoever. It's made possible by the nonprofit organization Free Grace International. So that's what I've written, but, excuse me, but the idea behind it is that, I was just talking to my wife one day and said, man, wouldn't it be cool if there was an app that would just like randomly pick from your contact list, for you to like text them, and you just do that every day, and eventually you will have contacted everybody on your contact list, And and then I think she maybe said, "Well, could you build that?" It's like, "Yeah. Yeah, I think I could. I think we could do that." And so we set off to do that, and then it started to occur to us the value in for folks that are trying to take a break from social media and kind of get their digital consumption back in balance. I think this app is a really good, I don't know, it's not a replacement exactly, but it's kind of like it would help in the detox process because, you grab your phone and you want to click on something when you got an extra minute. And I really think this is a better quality of what social media was originally supposed to do, because the app is just prompting you on people that you could contact that are already in your contact list, So like your social media, you've got thousands of people that supposedly are, I'm putting air quotes here, friends. But in your phone's contact list, it's different. It's like, these are the people that you thought it was valuable enough to collect their contacts. So they're more meaningful to you. And I just had a lot of contacts in my phone that I just hadn't talked to in a really long time. So I started to do this, and it's amazing. I mean, I'm having interesting conversations with people. I'm reconnecting with old friends fairly often, people that don't hear from me much or ever. I'm sending them a text, catching up, and they're saying it's very meaningful. It's very valuable. So, I think it could be a really great tool for those who are in ministry, especially. I mean, that's just my background, so that's where the value in my mind is for pastors. This can help you be a better pastor because a lot of times in ministry, you wind up just putting out fires. Whoever's got some problem, you're dealing with that. But this app isn't aware of the fires. It's just going to prompt you. It's going to pick randomly and prompt you to talk to such and such a person. And I think there's value in that because it over time means, like, say you've got less than 365 contacts that you want to contact. Within a year, if you do it every day, you're going to have talked to everybody on your contact list. And it's not nearly as intimidating or scary as it sounds, So anyway, that's what I've been working on, and I'm getting to the point where I'm going to put out some marketing stuff and really try to get folks to download it. And it is free. It's we're doing it because we think it can be useful, both for ministry people and just for anybody. So I mean, I'm coming from like a discipleship, mindset, but people could use it for sales or keeping up with clients or whatever. That's fine. I don't care about that a whole lot, honestly. What I care about is people's spiritual well-being. Like that verse that came up today, renewing your mind and not being conformed to the world is harder if you're addicted to social media. But the good part about social media, we actually can whittle down to that. Your phone can help you do that, and this app can help you do that, and you can leave behind some of that other stuff. Now, I'm not advocating that you completely disengage from social media. A lot of times people will just say, well, I gotta quit, and I'm just going to delete my accounts. And maybe for some that's fine, but I don't think that's really the answer. I think the answer is self-control. The answer is like figuring out how to have a balance, And for me, my balance is I have social media accounts, but I really don't look at social media hardly at all anymore. I post things, but I don't. But even some of the posting happens automatically, and so I'm just kind of absent from social media. And I just hear a lot of people complain about the kids, but I'm looking at my age bracket. I'm in my early 40s. I'm looking at those that are older, and I actually think those that are older have it harder because we didn't grow up with these devices. The kids are growing up with these devices, and they're probably going to be able to work through having some self-control. And I know there's exceptions to that, but I think they're at an advantage because they grew up in a world where they have to solve for that. We grew up in a world where we didn't, and so it's a new type of addiction that we've got to we gotta really wrestle with. So that's watch for that. That's on the horizon. That should be should be something. Well, if you're listening to this, you should download it, and I want to hear from you. I want to because I want to make it great, and it's really helpful to hear from people. I think it would be cool. Let's go to the website, freegrace.in, and just see what has posted. We've got a video from Dane. Oh, Dane put up a video. Yeah, that's right. He put up a video. Dane Allen is a guy that works with us. He does video. You should see his videos. He does really great faith alone content. He put up a post just recently that says, we need your help, and it's about supporting the video ministry. And by the way, we got a very generous gift that came in this morning specifically for the video ministry. So that's exciting when that happens. Let's see, three articles that have posted recently from me. Did God command genocide? That's an interesting one. What about the tribes? That one wrestles with that question of what happens to people who have never heard of Jesus. And then one about Roman that kind of goes through some of what is in Romans 1. Short little blog posts. I think those would be. Now, Sean also is usually has a few things posted, but he is teaching this week at His Hill Bible College or Bible School near San Antonio. So we may not see anything from him this week, but his last post was, Mr. President, I have great news for you. And it was about taking some quotes from the president about going to heaven and just kind of talking about the faith alone in Christ alone message. So that would be good to look at. Another thing, by the way, is we have some new Bible study books on the horizons. We've got one on the horizon. Got one we got one about Ruth, which is pretty recent, but we also have one on Colossians that's coming out pretty soon. It's based on the book that I wrote called Things Above. So that is the rundown on what has been posted on the site. Couple of upcoming things that are kind of cool. I've got a trip coming up into Canada. I'm gonna go and do a sort of a small weekend Bible conference up there. Also going to be speaking for the FGA conference in they're doing different, what they're doing this year. And I don't know if they've done this in the past. They're doing like tracts. Like there's a church revitalization track. There's also a kids ministry track. And so I'm going to be involved in the kids ministry track. So that should be good. That's happening in Phoenix. So if you're in the Phoenix area, that'd be cool to see you. So yeah, I think that's probably my ramble for the day. Let's see how long we've gone. Hey, we've almost gone 30 minutes. Hey, if we've gotten you through 30 minutes of your day and allowed you to feel like you have a rambling friend, I guess that's okay. Maybe some things that we could talk about in the future rambles. I don't think I'll call them episodes. I think I'll actually call them rambles. In a future ramble, one thing that I'm definitely going to want to talk about is music. I'm working on an album right now, and that's been for about 15 years of my life when I was younger, I was doing music very seriously and, in earnest recording. But back then there wasn't like a clear way to publish to digital platforms. That just didn't exist until toward the end of when I was doing it. And then I had a computer crash and I moved on into ministry and video production and stuff like that. And then I just didn't do music for a long time. And then in the last few years, I've started to, play a little bit more. And so over a period of, well, just my life since I was 16. I have a lot of songs that I've written that very few people have heard. And some of them are okay. Some of them are, I think, pretty good. I'm not like a great singer, but I think I'm an okay storyteller. And I think a story is always enhanced by music, and so some of these kind of stories and messages in the form of songs, I want to get out there. So maybe that'd be something I could talk about in a future a ramble. And I could even show you. Well, not show you, but have you hear some of those songs. At some point, I'll publish them and they'll be out, and you can listen to them on the normal platforms. And it's kind of a side thing to the ministry. It is all about, it's stuff about Jesus, but our ministry isn't like known for music, and neither am I. So it's kind of just a small side project that kind of maybe rides alongside the books and the I don't know, this app that I'm building and stuff like that. So I think that's my ramble for today. I'll show back up in maybe in a few days and ramble at you some more. I'll just say thanks for listening. If you want to see our website, the ministry website is freegrace.in. If you want to see the various things I'm doing, you can go to lucaskitchen.com, which is just a page on that website, but you can go directly to lucaskitchen.com, and it's got links to my books and my music and my apps and various things like that. So feel free to pop in there, and I guess that's all for today's ramble. Thanks for listening.